Well, hello there, motherfuckers. It's time for yet another retro review, but this time it's not a pay-per-view. It's a Raw, motherfuckers. It's a Raw. I was watching Best of Raw on the network. It's one of their streaming shows. And, I like the concept that they're just bringing out Raws, from the past. I wish we had access to it on demand, but if we have to have it this way, I guess that's okay. I guess there's nothing wrong with, having to wait to see these Raws, but, their ideas of their favorite Raws and my ideas of my favorite Raws may be different. So why can't I choose what Raws are the best? Not really fair, but, then again, WWE isn't fair. But anyway, the episode that we got here is March 26, 2001. It's the one where Vince buys WCW. We start off and Vince McMahon is standing with two TVs. One is the Raw, one is Nitro. And Jeff Jarrett's on the screen. Vince McMahon just completely basically fires Jeff Jarrett there on the spot, saying that he isn't going to be working for the company, and thank God they didn't bring him back. Jeff Jarrett was a very overrated wrestler that should have never made it to world title status, and this might annoy a lot of TNA faithfuls, but Jeff Jarrett was never great. He was good. He was good at an intercontinental title level, but he was one of those wrestlers that didn't have the look, didn't have the charisma to go beyond the mid-card or the upper mid-card. Then you have Kurt Angle coming out to cut a promo about not having a match at WrestleMania 17. It was a little bit odd to actually that Angle didn't have a match a week before WrestleMania 17, which would actually go on to be the best pay-per-view they ever did. Why they waited so long to book Angle in a match? I'm not sure if they were unsure if they wanted to do this match. It was Benoit coming out, challenging Angle to a match. I'm not sure if they wanted to go this route. Maybe that's why they waited that long. Maybe they thought of putting Angle in the match with Austin and Rock. I don't really know. I don't know what was really going on at this point. I wasn't really at the age of really looking at a lot of wrestling news at this point. Wasn't really the big internet mogul I am now. So this was a pretty good promo right here. Angle and the killer, the murderer, the suicide guy, they had some pretty good chemistry, not only in the ring, but on the mic, and Suicide Man was actually pretty entertaining. He wasn't known for his promos as much as he is for killing his wife and children, but he was pretty good on the mic here, I think. Then you had Taz defeating Val Venus. There was a lot of shenanigans on the outside with the APA and Right to Censor, but this match was like 30 seconds, and Taz beats him with the Northern Lights suplex, which was a little bit confusing why they had Val Venus job out so quickly here. I mean, you would have thought that it would have at least been 5 minutes, but this was really super fast for some fucking reason. Then William Regal is told by McMahon he's going to have a tune-up match tonight. Regal calls out the Hollies. Crash and Molly Holly come out, but he knocks Crash to the outside and he grabs Molly Holly and he puts her in the Regal stretch, which was pretty entertaining stuff. Then Doink the Clown comes out of the crowd and puts Regal in the walls of Jericho, and it's actually Jericho. Pretty classic moment. For some reason, before the walls of Jericho, you didn't think that it was Jericho. He took off the mask, and it was Jericho. It was pretty surprising. Pretty good little segment here. Then Vince McMahon comes out and it's time to address the WCW situation. Very, very classic promo, and I actually remember a lot of this. He was asking the crowd who they thought of, Buff Bagwell got a really big pop for some reason. Fans were chanting Goldberg like crazy. I like this little segment. You really got some input of who the fans thought they liked and who they disliked. Vince said that they were fickle, but they pretty much seemed like they wanted a lot of the top WCW stars there, so they weren't really fickle. I don't know why Vince made that. Maybe because they liked WCW. He was saying that they were weird. I don't know. This is Vince McMahon is great, but some of the time you don't know why he says some of the shit he does. Then again, look how the company looks nowadays. Shane McMahon appears on the Titantron, and he's purchased WCW. That's right, he's purchased WCW. This was pretty shocking at the time. I can't help but think how entertaining it would have been in Mania, though, when Vince proposed about Ted Turner coming out and asking Vince to sign the contract, to present him the contract. That actually would have been pretty fucking memorable, pretty fucking classic, but as you all know, that did not happen. And, this is already way in the past already. But this, Shane coming on Nitro, and, it was kind of surprising seeing Shane get such a big reception from the WCW crowd. But that's probably because a lot of people watch WCW, probably watch WWE. Back then, I watched both. Towards the end, I started watching more WWE as WCW went downhill. But I was one of those guys that flipped between both shows because both were pretty fucking good. But yeah, this is a classic segment. It's one of the most memorable moments for sure. Then you got the Hardys and Benoit defeating Angle, Edge, and Christian. Very short match, but it was decent. A lot of action to promote these guys. You had the Hardys and Edge and Christian headed into TLC 2. Benoit and Angle, obviously, they had their match. Rhino gores Lita after the match. It's pretty fucking good, pretty exciting stuff here. Even if the match was short, still post-match and everything makes it, worthwhile. X-Pac defeats Test with Eddie Guerrero as the special guest referee. It was an alright little match, with the screw job finish. Slightly entertaining stuff, nothing too spectacular, but it was alright. Okay build up for Guerrero and Test. X-Pac getting the win here, though, kind of didn't make any sense. I don't understand why they didn't put X-Pac in the match with Test and Eddie Guerrero. I did like their match at that Mania, as I said in my review, but maybe putting X-Pac in there would have added a little bit more excitement. The match might have been a little bit faster paced. I don't see the point of having X-Pac beat Test if they're not going to have him, get anywhere near the European title, what they were doing there. Anyway, you had Foley coming out. He tells McMahon that he signed some documents before he got fired as commissioner, and he's allowed to participate in Mania, and he's going to special guest ref him in Shane's match. Good segment, surprising to see Foley. It was a good way they worked the storyline, or he got the loophole where he explained. See, this is good storytelling here, how they worked themselves out of a corner. They fired Foley, but finding a way for him to get back that actually made sense. Foley says he knew that when McMahon returned, something bad was going to happen. They didn't want him around. Logical, making sense. Thinking, thoughts flowing through heads. This is exactly what WWE is missing nowadays. The shit has to make sense. There has to be a storyline. If somebody returns, if somebody turns heel, it has to make sense. There has to be a reason behind the actions. They did a good job here doing that. Then you had Big Show defeating Jericho. Match had a ton of interference. It was really short, but Raven was in there. You just had that. The Regal comes in and attacks Jericho. Things were moving fucking fast, super fast match, but entertaining. Even if the match was that fast, at least it was unpredictable. Run-ins from everywhere, a lot of build-up. Raven getting involved. So entertaining, not terrible. Then you got Stone Cold and The Rock defeating Undertaker and Kane. An awesome main event. When you think of main events to shows, to Raw, and when people ask, what is a main event? What is a main event? And now when they put the Divas in main events on Raw, the last slot on the card, this, motherfuckers, was a main event. Something that people actually wanted to see. Two of the biggest stars in the history of the company combining to face Undertaker and Kane, as JR put it. Four of the most popular wrestlers of all time. Four of the greatest of all time. Yes, Kane was really good at this point. So that is perfectly acceptable saying that. But this was a great match. Everybody just showing why they deserve to be in their spots. Triple H comes out. He hits Taker with the chair. Stone Cold gets the pin. Just awesome. Fucking awesome ass main event. An awesome, legendary, classic show. Not every match was amazing, but it had a purpose, and everything led up to Mania. Making all the matches. The whole fucking show. They managed to promote everything. Everything got promoted in just 2 fucking hours. You had everybody there was so much shit happening on this show. And not only that, not only were they 1 week away from Mania, and they managed to promote every single match properly, but they also dedicated a whole half an hour to WCW and Shane taking it away from Vince. So right there you had like a half an hour of build-up between Vince and Shane, and they had this now even bigger feud because now Shane had fucked over Vince, and now that made it even a bigger feud. So then you have just an hour and a half left for the other matches, and they still managed to pull off an amazing show. How is it that nowadays, where they have 3 fucking hours to build up for a pay-per-view every week, and SmackDown with those additional 2 hours, and they have a network where they can do a shitload of promotional material, and they still can't do decent build-up for a pay-per-view. And I'm saying, look here, just 2 fucking hours, and they managed to promote everything less than 2 hours because of commercials, and an hour and a half right there of just fucking amazing fucking build-up for this show, getting you hyped and making you have no problem putting down all that money for the pay-per-view because they got you so psyched up with all this fast-paced action, controversial shit, and just, you just didn't know what was going to happen next. Fucking awesome fucking show right here. And that's the thing, like, the matches didn't even need to go on long because they managed to put enough into them that it was enough where you just wanted to fucking see the pay-per-view to see what was going to happen next. Alright, motherfuckers, this was an awesome episode of Raw. the network letting us have access to all these classic shows it's fucking amazing. Even though the current product sucks, this network, despite the technical problems, when it does work, it is fucking amazing to see this content. Haha, alright.